All right, guys, welcome to a very special episode of the Left Side View with Rahul and Amitabh. This is the review episode of the midweek matches where we will talk about the Champions League and the Europa League matches, the quarterfinals, second leg of the quarterfinals. So, Amitabh, where do we begin?
So there were so many great matches in the past couple of days and so many talking points as well. But we start on a somber note. We start with Chelsea against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. For 5-6 minutes there, it looked like we would go through, but then that wonderful Modric assist and Rodrigo scoring a first-time goal. So let's start with the match. I think this was more of a Chelsea display than last week. We utilized the facets of the game that we were good at and exploited Real's weaknesses. The pressing, the pace with which we attacked, and everything was on point. Of course, Real had their chances off and on, but again, it was also error-free from Mendy. So I think if you see both the legs in totality, maybe that is where it mattered the most, that error from Mendy and Rodiger. So yeah, that was it. Scored a quick goal. Mount opened the scoring. Werner assist. Then Rodiger scored in the second half. Werner scored in the 75th minute. In between, Alonso scored with his wrong foot, the right one. But then that was shot off because the ball had hit his hand inadvertently. And given the rules now, if a ball touches the hand and it leads to a goal, that has to be shot off. Um, I mean, yes, we have to be like proud about the way we performed in the second leg away, but yes, I think we have to be. I mean, we are very disappointed with the way we played the first leg and the overall result. The match, we did take the match to extra time. I think both of us predicted that, but it was not our team that scored the winner. It was actually Karim Benzema who drilled in yet another header. And yeah, well done to Real Madrid. I can say that, but yeah, there's always a bad taste in the mouth in such competitions because I don't want to sound like sour grapes and all, but all the 50-50 decisions, I mean almost all of them, that went against us. I remember one of Nacho, I guess, he drilled his knee in the back of one of our players, and that was not even considered a foul, and that was just one of those incidents. So I think Tuchel brought it up in his post-match conference as well. Um, but I guess that is what you can expect when you are playing a powerhouse like Madrid. So overall, not happy, obviously, very disappointed, in fact. But nice to see some fight in this team. I mean, these are the qualities that they have already displayed so many times in the past couple of years. And yeah, given the recent blip, it was nice. Following up with the performance at Southampton. Now we have just a couple of targets to finish in the third place in the domestic league, and perhaps first of all get to the final and then take it from there. We have a semi-final against Palace on Sunday, so yeah, looking forward to those matches. Now,
Yeah, like to be honest, we wiped the floor completely with Real Madrid. I mean, obviously, super proud of the performance, and obviously super gutted with the result. Yeah, I know it does look like that one error from Mendy in the first half, in the second half of the first match, in the first leg, that kind of changed the course of the game. I mean, obviously, out of the four halves, we were clearly better in three of those halves, and obviously, maybe extra time as well. Uh, yeah, that first half performance, just resulted in Madrid. I mean, again, they were just more clinical with their chances when you have someone like Karim Benzema. What more do you expect? But having said that, I mean, Kai Havertz again, his resurgence. I mean, we got to talk maybe individually as well about players. Reece James, wow, he had a yellow card in the 10th minute and still played all the entire game. And yeah, like he knew that he was on a yellow, he was on a caution, but still, like even someone like Karim Benzema asked for, his jersey after the match. Just showed how much respect they have. Even Vinicius was, like made a comment, and I guess they are now actually interested in someone like signing him. They see him as the long-term replacement for Danny Carvajal. So maybe again, that's just their way of trying to entice him. But I think he's Chelsea through and through. I don't really see him leaving. Uh, I mean, like we kept talking, about someone like Robo Loftus-Cheek, that he's not good enough for Chelsea, and maybe as a midfielder or as a defensive midfielder, he's not. But maybe this is his best position, a wing back. Maybe, yeah, another discovery, by uh, Tuchel. He's finally maybe figured out his best position. Uh, I mean, because we clearly knew that we needed someone who was pacey, up against Vinicius. So that's why instead of playing Reece James as a wing back, he played Reece James as an inside, uh, right-sided centre back. He didn't play Aspilicueta or Christensen or Chalobah. It was actually, yeah, so some great tactical, switch from Tuchel. I mean, Alonso, wow, like he had almost a flawless game. We keep talking about someone like Kai Havertz again. Mount, wow, man, again, just 22 years old. I mean, uh, even Werner, like we keep talking about Werner as well. The only reason, like, again, we keep talking about Werner and we keep talking about Lukaku. Lukaku probably will score more goals, yes, uh, than Werner. But then I do feel like Werner is someone, and I keep saying this as well, that I like Werner as a player, and it's only when we play in the Premier League that it's a little difficult. But again, in European competition against the Spanish opposition, he was again, great. He was great against Real Madrid in last season semi-final as well. The reason why I still prefer Werner over Lukaku is because of his mentality. Werner knows, that he has done bad at times, and he takes that criticism in his stride. The only downside that I would say is the performance of N'Golo Conte. Uh, I think that he wasn't again in this match, not really up to his best, being the captain. And yeah, I think that was another thing, another game, like the first leg, even in the second leg, he didn't really was at his top. Uh, and again, the fact that we had someone like Lukaku suspended, so that's another thing. I think when the game went to extra time, some of the players were just tired, and I think we needed that striker, who would chase all the balls again. Like we Ziyech came on, Pulisic again, not really a good account of himself. It looked like as soon as Werner went off, the tie shifted back into Real Madrid's favor. Had we had a striker on the pitch, on the bench to replace someone like Havertz, or even play alongside Havertz in extra time, maybe things would have been different. Uh, yeah, like moment of brilliance, moment of magic from Real Madrid. And again, at the same time, the damage had already been done in the first leg. So Benzema again, so clinical with his chances. Modric again, still defying gravity, still defying age. I guess 36 years old. What a wonderful pass! One of the best passes that you will ever see, I think, in the knockout fixture. I mean, we actually looked like the defending champions. That's all I would say. Yes, we are out, but it looked like I mean, again, another stat that I read, that this is the first time Real Madrid have conceded 3 goals in a European competition at the Santiago Bernabeu since 1968. Wow, like wow. I mean, yeah, we can probably move on, because at the same time, no matter how much we talk about the fact that Chelsea was so good, the end result didn't go our way. So yeah.
Yeah, even after Werner went off, we did have a couple of great chances. I think followed to Pulisic and just could not convert it. So that tinge of disappointment will always be there. But again, super proud of the team, and let's see what happens in the FA Cup semi-finals against Palace on Sunday. Moving on, again a great Cinderella story, I guess. Villarreal against Bayern Munich. In a preview, I think we said that Bayern Munich would be able to clinch this one, you know, late in the match or maybe in extra time. But it was actually Villarreal that scored a goal late in the 88th minute, and yeah, they go through. One thing we did point out before the match was Nagelsmann's inexperience in such a pressure cooker situation, and Again, see, the competition in Bundesliga is not really something, to write home about. And in the big European clashes, there is something off at Bayern Munich. Um, whether it will be solved within this, I mean, now that they are out, their only, target is maybe a couple of domestic clubs. But there is something off, and they do need to look at their squad and understand, maybe sort out the contract situation. Maybe that is the issue that is troubling, the squad. But again, the way Upamecano and the other defender, the way their form has dropped, that has like coincided with the fortunes of the club. And Bayern Munich, for all their attacking prowess and everything, they were always known for, German teams are always known for being defensively solid. So yeah, again, a tactical masterclass by Unai Emery, and again, good things should happen to this guy, because I think he's highly underrated. He got sort of a chance at Arsenal, but again, I think it required more time and maybe more support in terms of personnel. So yeah, Villarreal now off to face Liverpool, and I don't think they'll take them lightly. You should not, and you cannot. But again, you start that, viewing that match at the onset, and you do think that Liverpool have enough. But again, I'm sure that Emery will come with some sort of a game plan, and most importantly, his team will be able to execute that game plan. Again, if they concede, a couple of goals in the first 10 minutes, all the plans go out of the window. But yeah, looking forward to the semi-finals, Liverpool against Villarreal. And as far as Munich are concerned, not really bothered seeing them in trouble, quite frankly. But yeah, let's see how they tackle this challenge, that these issues that they are, in right now. Rahul?
Well, yes. So another stat. I think Unai Emery has actually already managed to beat Klopp in a European final. I think he beat Unai Emery.
Europa.
Sevilla beat Europa
Europa.
final 2016. Yeah, I think they beat them 3-1. Yeah, I think that was his first European final. Klopp's first European final for Liverpool. Yeah, but obviously it's a different like 6 years now, 6 years ago, and yeah, it's a different Liverpool and a different Emery, and it's Villarreal. Um, I think yes. Now we can talk about the decision. From Emery to rest all 11 players in the league match. Yeah, something that Bayern couldn't or didn't really do, even though they could actually do it as well. Uh, I mean, yeah, it's all about. I think in terms of ability, I think yes, Bayern are the better team on paper, but I think we have seen that when it comes to this time of the season, a lot of things need to be said about unity, togetherness, morale, team spirit. So yes, everyone knows that Bayern are a better team than Villarreal, but then all these things, the underdog mentality, one for all, us against the world, all these things can be said about Unai Emery's Villarreal now. It didn't really matter to them. For them, it was all about the end result. And yes, someone like Raul Albiol, I think, about 36 years old now. I think he was at even Real Madrid, didn't really do much, and then even moved to Napoli for a long time. Played alongside someone like Koulibaly, but now at Villarreal at the tail end of his career. Again, it's like togetherness. You defend for everyone. Like it's a defensive masterclass, parking the bus or whatever you want to call it, right? But as long as you get the job done, no one's gonna care. Like for them, uh, they just wanted to get away with a victory, and they did that overall. I mean, they've already knocked out two powerhouses. First, Juventus, people were like, this was a fluke, but yeah, they're gonna uh, get shown up in their match against Bayern Munich. But even against Bayern Munich now, like the fact that they've actually managed to knock out Bayern Munich, who just won the competition 2 seasons ago. So yeah, and that's the thing. Like even against Liverpool, people are gonna be like, yes, they are the underdogs. I think they've gone as far as they can, and again, Liverpool will be the favorites. There's no doubt about that. But yes, they have knocked out two powerhouses. Let's see if they can knock out another one. Uh, Other than that, I think even his substitutions, Emery has been so good. I think I read a stat that this was the fifth time a substitute has managed to score for Villarreal. So that's the joint top with Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. 5 is the number. I think even Chukwueze scored, came on. Yeah. Um, yeah, man. I mean, even Lewandowski opened the scoring, but it seemed like that would take the game to extra time. They kept trying to score a second, but that was not meant to be. Instead, what actually came was the equalizer from Villarreal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference between their performance and let's say the Atletico Madrid performance was Atletico just refused to go forward. They just wanted to, control the ball past the halfway line and then hope. But when in the 88th minute, they could have done the same. They could have, gone for extra time and all. But there was a concerted attack and that, served them well. They finally got the goal in the 88th minute and they are through now. So yeah, really looking forward to the semi-finals. One team going all out and one team trying to nullify that attack. So it will be, a tactical. Let's hope it's a tactical masterclass. Okay, moving on to Villarreal's opponents in the semi-finals. Liverpool faced off Benfica at home, and I think this week has really helped Liverpool, in their chances of trying to gain an advantage over Manchester City in all the competition. Because at the end of the day, I think it is Manchester City that stands in the way of Liverpool in terms of all the three competitions that are still left. So Liverpool made, I guess, 5 or 7 changes in this match, and it was basically a Liverpool B team playing because they had, wrapped up the tie in the first leg itself, and after that gruesome match on Sunday, and the fact that both the teams will be facing each other on Saturday, so Klopp decided to rest a lot of his first team members and Konate started the scoring. Firmino scored 2 goals for Benfica. They scored 2 late goals. Seremchuk and Nunez are one of the hottest properties right now in Europe. So for the last 10 minutes, they and their supporters did believe that maybe they can overturn, but I don't think it was really on the cards ever. Um, but yeah, Liverpool on to the semi-finals, and I think closer to I mean, in the near future, they had one eye on the match against Manchester City at the Wembley on Saturday, and yeah, I think now, especially with the kind of match that City had to endure, I think they start as favorites for that match as well. Rahul?
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool have really been lucky, in terms of the draw and everything. The fact that they had to play Benfica, so they knew that if they could get the job done in the first leg, then they would be able to rest players in the second leg, which is what has happened. Whereas someone like City, who had to go to Spain, so yeah, it does look like the other favorites now. And again, like we said, that it didn't really look like it was ever in doubt, because if it was, then Klopp would have probably not rested as many players as he did. I mean, the fact that their whole game revolves around their two full backs, Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. He rested both of them. It was actually Joe Gomez and Tsimikas who started. But still, having said that, I mean, a lot of the chances, that Benfica tried to score, some of those did go in, but then again, a lot of them were ruled out by VAR. Whereas one of the goals that Firmino scored, the first goal, I mean, the second goal overall and the first goal that Firmino scored, that one looked like offside, but that one was not ruled out for some reason. Again, we kept talking about this guy, David Nunez, the Uruguayan striker. His idol is someone like Edinson Cavani. He is going to leave Benfica. It does look like he has actually changed his agent as well. Benfica actually refused a 45 million euros bid from Brighton or West Ham for that matter. But it does look like now he's going to leave at the end of the season, just 22 years old. Again, so good. His finishing is so good. I mean, again, though not really sure if there's too much to say about it. Like the job had already been done. We were not really expecting another Chelsea Real Madrid in a way. I mean, they got away with a 3-all draw. I mean, but then because of the fact that you can actually make 5 substitutions as well. So yes, even though Klopp rested so many players, but then in the second half he brought all of the big guns. Sadio Mane, Salah, everyone was there. Even someone like Luis Diaz who started. So obviously he also wanted to give a good show of himself. One, so that he actually gets to start more games, and two, because it was a Portuguese opponent. His former side's opponent, when his former side Porto's opponent. So yes, I think Klopp knew what he was doing, and he wouldn't be really too sad, I think, with the draw. In fact, he was even asked about it, and he said that the day he's sad on, the day Liverpool reach a semi-final, they can actually knock him out. So yeah, it does look like they are the favorites now. Like they could actually win the quadruple, as much as it pains me to say.
I really, really hope they don't, because if they do, we won't, hear the end of it ever again. Okay. The next match, Atletico Madrid against Manchester City. I really don't know what to talk about the football in this match, but there were early scenes at the end of this match, and I think that is typical to La Liga. I am not, signaling them out or again nothing of that sort, but it has just happened far too often in La Liga and with La Liga teams. Um, and Pep, in all honesty, has been an accomplice to all this for so many, when he was at Barcelona. So City cannot approach, take a holier than thou approach and say it was all Atletico's fault. City were actually very good, adopting techniques of Atletico, trying to time waste and feign injuries and stuff like that. And it just riled up. We actually thought it would be the other way around, Atletico Madrid players trying to rile City up, but again, Guardiola really guarded against that, and not only guarded against that, he actually went one better and um, turned the tables. And yeah, right from the first minute, you could see that Edison and I mean, the entire team basically they were taking far too long, taking their throw-ins, free kicks, whatever. So yeah, the biggest issue for City in this match was the injuries to Kyle Walker and Kevin De Bruyne. And now that we've already said that Liverpool enjoy an ascendancy over City now in all the competitions. If you add this to the mix, then it's really an uphill battle for City now. So yeah, let's see whether how. First of all, I don't think we've had a update on how serious the injuries are or how long will it take. But let's see if these two figure in the semi-finals of the FA Cup at least. And I think if there is, ever any doubt, I think Pep will prioritize the Premier League. That is a given. But yeah, again, I think Simeone like waits for the last 15 minutes, last 20 minutes to really go out, on attack when he tries to bring on players like Korea, and then they try to attack, but they could have done that right from the first minute. Or I understand it is not easy against City, but you can pick and choose your moments. But again, I think he adopted that defense first approach for far too long, and then he tried to rile up the crowd and try to make them an atmosphere of us against the world. And the funniest thing was at the end of the match, Atletico lost the tie. They are out of the competition, and the whole stadium, showing their stars and mufflers and showing their support to Simeone. I mean, he has somehow made the supporters believe that everybody is against them, and this is how we have to survive. And this is, I mean, I don't know what they were applauding. Seriously, what were they applauding? The defensive mindset of the team. The idea is to go through. You needed to score at least one goal. But yeah, good on Atletico and good on Simeone. Again, the early scenes at the end of the match, I don't think there will be a lot of sanctions because let's just face it, UEFA are spineless. If they had to do something about it, it would have been done long ago. They'll try and pick, choose and pick targets, someone from the coaching staff, a player who never plays or something like that, and they'll make a, statement of sort. But this thing has to be stamped out of the game. I hope it is, but I am sure it will not. Rahul?
I think sanctions only take place, when it involves our culture. Uh, I mean, yeah, I was going to say the same thing, that not only because of the luck that Liverpool have had, in terms of the draw in the Champions League, but also because of the fact that now City have accumulated, so many injuries, someone like Kevin De Bruyne, someone like Kyle Walker. I know that Ruben Dias is back, so he's probably going to start the match against Liverpool. I think City just did a better Atletico than Atletico. They beat them at their own game, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure the Guardiola would know how Atletico would be in this tie, so he probably would have given specific instructions, to his players. Again, like in the second half when it looked like Atletico were starting to dominate, right? Guardiola brought on someone like Fernandinho, who is again someone who's a master of the dark arts. just a day after he announced that he would be returning to Brazil and leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. Uh, yeah, I mean, some of the things that Atletico did were, again, it's like sore losers, right? Like I understand you're losing, but then, and on top of that, I actually even messaged you, that when Felipe was given a yellow card in the first half, I actually felt like this guy's gonna get sent off. I just had a feeling he keeps doing that in big games for Atletico. I think he even did that. He even got sent off against Liverpool, and yeah, that's happened with them. Another thing again we can talk about is, even if, like, we all know how good Jose Jimenez is for Atletico, but again, he's someone who keeps missing these big games. Maybe if he started, then this whole thing with Felipe would not have happened, because then Felipe would have not started, and if he had not started, he would have not sent off. Again, a lot of what ifs, but even this is a big thing, that they do need to find someone, to replace Jimenez, or maybe just sell him, or maybe make sure that even if he doesn't play, they do have someone else as well to take his place, because he keeps missing these big matches far too often. Again, the tactics, I mean, the whole thing that Guardiola had said something about Atletico being prehistoric. Maybe his comments were not really taken into consideration the way he actually meant those comments. Atletico took them in a different way, in a negative light, and even Atletico's owner, after the match, said that it was Manchester City who played prehistoric football, defensive football. They put a wall in front of their defense. But then again, the concern is, the point is to not concede a goal. It doesn't matter how you do it. I mean, Atletico brought on 5 attacking players, right? Uh, Cunha, Suarez, Correa, Carrasco. They still couldn't, even someone like Rodrigo de Paul, but they still couldn't find a way past City's defense. So it's not that Atletico were so good. They were actually the opposite. They were not good enough. It was City's defense which was so good, which stopped them from scoring a goal. Playing at home, even with the advantage of 5 substitutes, even against playing a side who had already had 2 players injured, who'd gone off. So yeah, I think Atletico had this in their hands. It's them who, because of not having even a single shot on target in the first leg, they were the ones who capitulated, and yeah, they're the ones who gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, one team that cannot complain of the defensive tactics of the opponent should be Atletico, and I absolutely have no issues with that. Quite frankly, I've always maintained that there are two facets to the game: attacking and defending. If you do one well, stick to it. But I mean, I don't understand this definition of narrative football and all that. Football is football. You have to win. Give me 38 1-nils before a season, and what not only me, anybody, and I think they'll be happy. But the point is, you have to try and score that one goal. I think for the entire 2 legs, Atletico just refused to. Okay, in the last, I mean, the second half of this game, maybe they wanted to, but I think it was already too late by then. And yes, as you said, Man City did a better Atletico than Atletico. So let's see what the ramifications of this tie are. We move on to the Europa League now. Again, some classic affairs here as well. We start off with Atlanta against Leipzig. Um, Atlanta at home, and yeah, before this match, we did thought about it. I mean, the reason why I chose Leipzig was actually Nkunku, and I'm happy that he proved me right. So he scored a couple of goals, and Leipzig go through a very interesting and entertaining match here. Both the teams went for it. Both the teams did create a lot of chances Zapata for Atlanta, but somehow Atlanta were they were unable to just put in the final touch or the final ball in, and when they got 2 chances, Leipzig did convert them. One of them was a penalty, so Leipzig go through. Rahul?
Yeah, I mean, Nkunku, he scored what, 30 goals in all competitions this season. I think the highest ever, was Werner 2 seasons ago. I think he scored 34. He got 34 goals. So yeah, I think he's well on his way to equaling that, or even surpassing that record by Werner set 2 seasons ago. I mean, again, I think he's got 2 years left on his contract, and it's been rumored that he's the number one name, on Manchester United's transfer wish list. Let's see if that happens. But yes, when you have someone like Nkunku on such a red hot form, uh, I mean, we got to talk about Atlanta. I think if Atlanta were playing like Atlanta of last season, or the last 2 or 3 seasons, then they probably would win this match. We even talked about this in the beginning of the season that Atlanta made a lot of signings, but then we kept saying that a lot of these signings they look like quantity signings and not quality signings. I mean, they let go of someone like Christian Romero to Tottenham, replaced him with Demiral, who didn't really start well, like, but yes, has really gotten into that role. Even other players that you look at, someone like Zappacosta actually from Chelsea, yes, he's been decent. Uh, but they sold someone like is he an upgrade on someone like Robin Gosens? No. Uh, who was sold? I mean, again, the fact that they are a selling club just shows in a way. I think even I feel like Jeremy Boga is someone because of his pace. He's actually better as an option off the bench, but when he starts, I think he doesn't really have that. I think he just gets tired the by the end of the first half, and then he just becomes useless in a way. Even Zapata, who missed almost 2 months of the season, this was actually his just second start in a row. He started at the weekend and now this. So yes, maybe we'll see him get more rhythm. But yeah, this was a game maybe wherein the team that was already in rhythm, someone like Nkunku, someone like Leipzig, they got away with that opportunity. Um, Even someone like Coop Miners, again, his first season away from the Dutch Eredivisie, playing for Atlanta. So yes, these players will get better. I mean, you can just clearly see, where they are in Serie A as well. They're not even in the top seven. They're not even in the Europa League place. So yes, a lot of things need to be done, especially with the signings and everything that a lot of these other teams from Serie A have made. Yeah, we keep talking. At least the fact that something that works for Atlanta is that they don't really play a slow game. Like a lot of the other teams in Serie A, they do play this pressing game, which is what we actually need to play these days to keep up with the best teams. Um, yes, an important season, a learning season for Atlanta, but I think they'll get better from this.
Yeah, I mean, one of the strong points of Atlanta was always the depth in squad, and I think once they performed well a couple of years ago, a lot of them were sold, but I don't think they were adequately replaced. So maybe that is something they can think about. Moving on, perhaps the match of the
Um,
night.
actually, before we talk about, sorry. So yeah, we finally actually see them, missing another attacker, someone like Joseph Ilicic, who has been missing. He's not injured. He's just because of his mental health issues, he's been missing. So I think in this game, in my opinion, they actually missed him as well. The fact that they had Muriel as well, the fact that they had Zapata, but I think yes, they needed another attacking outlet, and that attacking outlet would have been someone like Ilicic. They didn't really replace him either, in my opinion. So yes, there were a lot of these factors, overall that just came to a head, I guess. And yes, Leipzig with someone like Nkunku, who has been so ruthless in front of goal, I think yes, just took full use of him.
Yeah. Yeah, the match of the night yesterday. Barcelona at the new camp against, Spotify new camp against Eintracht Frankfurt. And I think Frankfurt really surprised all of us, including Xavi, with the kind of performance they displayed yesterday. I mean, they were off the blocks and they were very sure of their tactics that they had to attack Barcelona. And perhaps that was their only chance because of late with Barcelona's form coming back, a lot of team tend to have given them a lot more respect than what they have deserved because at the end of the day the a lot of the team members are youngsters, and if you try and pressurize them, maybe that is the way out. If you let them play the way they want to, then obviously there's no hope for you. So yeah, Frankfurt started like a house on fire. They got a fourth minute penalty. Eric Garcia again, silly foul, I have to say. I mean, absolutely not necessary, but yeah, the referee was brave enough in Chris Hurt to give a decision against Barcelona. Kostic scored that goal. Then again, Bore scored the second goal for Frankfurt, and Kostic scored the second goal in the 67th minute. It was 3-0 to Frankfurt. I mean, there was stunned silence. It was no, there was actually not stunned silence in the stadium because one of the things that Xavi said after the match was It felt like the stadium was divided 50-50 between Barcelona and Frankfurt supporters. And maybe there'll be an internal inquiry about why that was the reason. And I've also heard that Barcelona authorities, they opened the gate at the last minute and wanted as many supporters to come and watch the match as possible. And of course, the fact that some of the tickets must have been, sold off at a higher price. That is always the case. So whatever, these supporters are known for their loyalty. There are, I think this happened in one of the previous European matches as well. So Frankfurt always travel in flocks, the fans, and support the team. And yeah, they made a lot of noise and ruckus at the new camp. Now, in the 90th minute, after one of his goals was chopped off, rightly so, for being offside, Busquets scored a good goal from distance, and they also got a penalty. There were 9 minutes of extra time, and they got the penalty in the 10th minute. So not nothing. I mean, looked like maybe something will happen, but nothing did. And yeah, a fantastic night in the European history of Frankfurt and Barcelona. They were sort of champions elect of this competition, and maybe they took the game too lightly. Or it's always easier to say after the fact. So. Maybe we just have to give credit to Frankfurt for the way they dominated the match. Rahul?
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is what happened in the first leg as well. That Barcelona are a flair team, I guess. They like playing against teams, that allow them the time, allow them more time on the ball, which is what happens when they play in La Liga. But yes, when you play in Europe, when you play in a European competition against a team like Frankfurt, which is a pressing team, who was at them Barcelona, at Barcelona from the very first minute, not allowing them even a single second. And then all of a sudden, we talk about Barcelona getting penalties. This is actually their fourth penalty in 2 games. They even conceded 3 penalties in the La Liga match. So yeah, I mean, Eric Garcia clearly doesn't really look like a good signing in my opinion. Maybe he'll become one, but yes, not a bad decision at all from Manchester City to let him go on a free transfer. It clearly showed that they were missing a little bit of experience at the back. Uh, Gerard Piqué was injured. I mean, another strategy by uh, Frankfurt was to target the fullbacks because it clearly looked like they were not really comfortable. I mean, Jordi Alba, 32, 33 again. There's nobody, who's there as a backup. There's no long-term replacement. I think that's a position, a key area that they need to focus on instead of signing, all these uh, attacking players or anybody else. Even someone like right back. I mean, Sergio Roberto has been injured for so long. Um, Sergio is clearly not in contention. Similarly, someone like Dani Alves, 39, 38 years old, but still not even registered for this competition. So yes, they had to play someone like Oscar Mingueza at right back, which clearly showed, which is another reason why Frankfurt targeted the fullback positions of Barcelona. Someone like Filip Kostic was so good, so instrumental. I mean, yeah, scored a wonderful goal. Rafael Santos Borre, the South American striker, who was actually signed as a replacement for Andre Silva, who left to join Leipzig, hasn't really, like, he left River Plate to join Frankfurt. Hasn't really set the season on fire, but yes, has finally, maybe gotten used to this Frankfurt side, and yeah, turned up in this match. What a goal he scored! Like, one of the goals of the season, in my opinion. Uh, and yes, it was 3-0, and maybe, like you said, there was, yeah. I mean, a great, like you said about the whole thing, with fans. Wow, man, seriously, the whole Camp Nou. It didn't look like it was at Camp Nou. It looked like it was actually a match at a neutral venue. So kudos to Frankfurt. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to say is that Xavi will definitely be a great manager now that he starts pointing everything left, right, and center except the performance of his team. So well done to him. Okay, the next match, Lyon against West Ham United. Now, both the teams started, well, and both the teams did create chances, but there was this 10-minute spell before the first half, and I mean, before the first half break, and just after the second half started, and West Ham just scored 3 goals, and it was tie over for Lyon right then and there. Dawson scored from corner, and then it was Declan Rice, and finally Gerrard Bowen in the second half. So 3-0, and from there it was smooth sailing for West Ham. So now they're in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Maybe again their only option to try and participate in the Champions League next season. Rahul?
I mean, yeah, some great displays, from away teams throughout Europe this season in this round of fixtures. I mean, Declan Rice, man, seriously. I mean, if Jack Grealish went for 100 million pounds, not really sure how much Declan Rice is worth. Seriously, the fact that, and not only that, because like there are so many teams that need someone like him. Chelsea needs someone like him. City needs someone like him. I think United definitely needs someone like him. So yeah, I think with these displays, his value just keeps on increasing. Wow, like seriously, even he's not only so good on the ball, and there's so much more to his game now than it was till last season. He's not just a defensive midfielder. He's become this all-round midfielder now. With you know going forward as well, scoring goals. What a wonderful goal! I mean, just when West Ham needs someone, to pick up the entire team, it's actually Rice who's doing it. He's become this leader, not only for West Ham but for England as well. Hopefully for Chelsea in the future. Let's see.
Yeah, the final match, Rangers against Braga. Again, we did say that the home advantage will serve Rangers well. And yeah, even they got a quick goal from Tavernier, second minute, and then again, 44th minute penalty. Carmo actually scored for Braga and took the match to extra time. But Faria was red carded in the 42nd minute, so they had to play like 50 plus 30, 80 minutes with 10 men. But there was also another player that was sent off, Medeiros, in the 105th minute. So extra time winner for Roof, and yeah, Rangers are through now. Rahul.
I mean, yeah, James Tavernier, he's the right back. He's their top scorer. Wow. He opened scoring within the second minute and then even scored another goal, right? Even someone like Roof, he had the ball in the back of the net, I think twice, but both were ruled out, for some reason. At the same time, they actually had a player sent off. So it looked like it's going to go downhill for Braga. But then again, maybe the mentality of playing in a European competition, I mean, all the chances went Rangers' way, but all Braga needed was one chance. And they capitalized on that one chance. David Carmo, the Portuguese centre back, I think he was linked with Liverpool as well a little while ago. So yes, all they needed was one chance to make it 2-1, even though they were playing with 10 men. But again, when you're playing, down to 10 men, the numbers advantage does catch up with you. I mean, obviously, as soon as the match went to extra time, it was pretty clear, that it's Rangers now who are in the ascendancy, especially when Roof, who finally managed to score and made it 3-1. I mean, even if there was a chance, for Braga to make a comeback, that soon went away when their Medeiros, who actually not even had a yellow before, was actually shown two yellows in the space of seconds, one for the foul and then the other for dissent, for shouting in front of the referee. So yeah, I think they were the reason for their own downfall. Yeah, kudos to Rangers, but yeah, let's see. Interesting draw in both the competitions now.
Yes, so before we wind up for this episode, just a shout out to the Conference League semi-finalists as well. So we'll have Feyenoord against Marseille and Leicester against Roma. Again, important matches. We'll definitely preview them when the time comes. Till then, I think this is from us as far as the European competitions are concerned for the midweek. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Take care, and we'll be back with our preview episodes. Bye.
All right, guys.